Okay, so welcome everyone to this first live stream on the artificial business intelligence. And so the purpose of this live stream is to share with you in real time my work sessions as I'm building this artificial business intelligence, which is going to be available online for 8 billion people. I know it sounds crazy, but it's probably inspired by DeepSeek last January. So I want to share this artificial business intelligence. And what ABI is an intelligence that will guide you step by step so that you can create your new business. So it's not primarily for businesses that exist already. It's really an AI in the cloud, accessible for free to everyone on the planet. And so ABI is going to contain, first of all, my knowledge, which is limited compared to the knowledge available, my business knowledge. But more than knowledge, it's going to help you to build your business system step by step. So that's really the goal. And the reason why you need to have a business system is like, when you launch a new business, instead of having to engineer and build a car, you can just drive it. And so, if you have a business system, it's like having a car. You can just learn to drive the car. Unfortunately, for most entrepreneurs, starting a business often means building a car, which is very hard, and not surprisingly, most people fail in business. So what I want to do is create an artificial templates and blueprints, etc., so that you can just start running the car. Okay, so before we talk about this artificial business intelligence, we need to focus on what business really is. So let's start from scratch, because I don't want to make any assumption. So I'm going to put this in the corner here and focus on what exactly is a business. So I'm going to move it over here. So what is a business? And so this session is going to be very educational, as well as focus on implementation. So a business is basically, hold on, let me just grow it here. A business is a system that acquires customers and serves them profitably. So this is just one definition of a business, but I think it's a pretty good one. It's a system. So if you're a freelancer, you don't have a business, because a freelancer is going out there and is offering her services. A business is a system that reliably will acquire new customers and will also serve them in a way that is profitable for the long term. So, hold on. Let me just. So the blunt question is, given today's artificial intelligence, how can you create a business system, fast, cheaply? Because it's always going to require some money, but you want it to be as low as possible in terms of expenses, and fast, reliable, cheap and reliable, and doesn't require a lot of skills. Some skill, but not a lot of skill or talent. So that's the main question I think that people should keep asking themselves. How can I create a business system using AI in a way that is fast, cheap, reliable, doesn't require a lot of skill or talent? This is the main question that you want to ask yourself, because if you're using ChatGPT or even Claude for coding, and you're not focusing on creating a business system, but instead you're creating web apps, especially with Base 44, or you're creating software programs with Claude, which is fine, or you're creating content, images, videos with Sora and ChatGPT, it's fine. It's a good start. You can play with that. Base 44, for example, is very good at creating tons of apps, and you have 25 free credits per month. If you have several Google accounts, you can get tons of credits. But in any case, Base 44 only costs like $16. That's the minimum, $16 per month to generate using 100 credits. So Base 44 is pretty good for creating applications, which is what I recommend. But if you're getting started, maybe applications is too, unless you attend my webinar on how to create an app, because it's about software engineering and computational thinking, and it's very sophisticated. So it might not be for you, even though if you have a good software idea, Base 44 is probably the best platform for generating applications and software programs that run on the web, all right? Because Base 44 is going to host your web application. So that's what I recommend to most people. And once you create a web application on Base 44, you can charge people like $10 a month, or even $5 a month, and they will have access to your app or to your collection of apps. So it's a very good way to create what they call a software as a service, SaaS, software as a service company. And like I said, you can even charge $5. There's a lady who charged like $2 for an application that it's what she called a product requirements documents that would generate this product requirements document. And she was making over $100,000 within a few months, charging only $2. So the pricing is not difficult. You can charge different prices, and you can see which price level will give you the best results. But like I said, you can charge with only $2 a month per user, and on the internet, volume is going to take over, and even at $2 a month, it's going to result in a large annual recurring revenues. So $2, $5, $10, it's not really the question, but just don't give it away for free. That's the only thing about software as a service. Charge a minimum amount. So an application is probably the best product for you to start. But there are also you can generate ebooks, you can generate video courses, especially today with video generation and image generation. Like what I do, for example, is that I create a lot of images, and I insert those images in PowerPoint presentations, which I use to teach. But also these PowerPoint slides can become ebooks. And so I use image generation. I don't use video generation that much because it's not that good yet, and it tends to be expensive. I think that with just images you can create PowerPoint presentations, meaning that you can create video courses, because when your PowerPoint slides have images, it's much more engaging. So I use PowerPoint slides with images to create video courses and of course ebooks. And so that's another avenue that is very different from web applications. So this is really for teaching people. So I'm going to separate the ebooks from the video courses so that you can clearly see the different product types. Okay, so let me just whoa. Okay, sorry. And by the way, notice that what I'm doing right now is that I'm teaching in a live stream on YouTube. And this is what I recommend to people. When you start something new, you can't, create a product sitting at home alone. Instead, you can do use OBS Studio in order to live stream. And I typically, I used to live stream in a Facebook group, but I found that if I live stream on YouTube, it's much better, because when you live stream in a Facebook group, Facebook keeps your live stream only for 30 days and then it deletes it, on Facebook. But if you live stream on YouTube, it becomes a permanent video on YouTube, and on YouTube you can have up to 12 hours of live stream. Obviously, I'm not gonna live stream for the next 12 hours, but I can, do for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then I can take a break. I can put a sign, something like, I'll be right back in 20 minutes, and then I can resume live streaming on YouTube. It's going to continue the live stream. I don't have to do the setup in OBS Studio, etc. So YouTube is the best when it comes to live streaming, and it converts your live stream into, a permanent video later on. And so and these permanent videos can be part of your membership site, where you're charging a certain amount of money. And I'll talk later on about how you can use Gumroad to set up a membership site. And you can charge, let's say, $10 a month, and in Gumroad you're going to list all the permanent YouTube videos that you've created, which are unlisted. And so it's a membership site. So the membership site business model is different from the software as a service. So let's take a look at that, the different products that you can charge. Okay, so for products, you can have an ebook, you can have a video course, which typically people can sell on Teachable, but I find that it's not that flexible. But anyways, you can sell your video course in so many places. You can create a web application, and like I said, Base 44 is really the best. No wonder the guy and his team who created it in a few months, they were able to get, what's the company's name? I'm drawing a blank, but it's a website company. What is it? It's a website company, a web development company that bought Base 44 for $70 million. Anyways, use Base 44 to create web applications. You can create a membership site, which is what I really recommend. And so I'll explain why a membership site is the best compared to an ebook. First of all, an ebook, even if it's successful, it has limited revenue, because let's say you sell your ebook for, I don't know, $20 or $30. After you've sold your ebook, that's it. Customers are not gonna, you would have to create a second ebook. And so it's kind of tough, and to write an ebook is already tough, so you have it's tough to create. You have limited income, and it's not engaging. So many people think about writing an ebook, but that's the old mentality. You have to understand that today people have smartphones, they have tablets, they have computers, they have screens that are 2K. Why are you selling an ebook where people have to imagine visually what you mean? An ebook is like, it's crazy. An ebook is like 1980s, before the internet was invented. Now, of course, there are exceptions. If you're selling a novel, then obviously it should be an ebook. But if it's nonfiction, definitely don't go with ebooks. It's just too boring. I'm a reader, I'm a speed reader. I love books, but I don't read books anymore, unless it's a very good book. So ebook is not really the way to go. I can't come up with a reason why you should create an ebook. So I'm going to put it in red. Video course is good, so I'm going to put it in green. So it's better because a video course, people can actually hear your voice, like you're hearing my voice right now. So I'm going to put it in blue, and there are images, there are animations. You can put a video segment, so it's more engaging. Okay, so I'm going to put it here. More engaging, easier to create, because you can just have a set of slides and you can do a voiceover. Even the voiceover can be done by 11 Labs, so you don't even have to use your voice. So 11 Labs has many voices that you can use. So a video course is better than an ebook when it comes to nonfiction. Now, what's better than a video course in some cases is a web application, because a web application has the same features. It's engaging, it's easier to create. So I'm just going to make a copy here, but it has the additional functionality of being interactive, in a sense that it can create custom content and solutions for each user. So this is really important, because when you're offering a video course to your students, like all your students will get the same video course. It's one size fits all. So let me just put it here. It's one size fits all. And in some cases it makes sense. Like if I'm teaching email marketing, well, it's the same email marketing principles and tactics and techniques for everyone. So it makes sense when you're teaching a course, like leadership, software programming, etc. But there are many courses where you want to create custom content based on the user. So in that case, you want to use a web application online, right? So that could be better than a video course. But of course, like I mentioned before, a web application requires some knowledge of software engineering. You don't need to learn how to program, but you need to know like some basics of software engineering, especially if you're going to get into the base 44 code and edit the code. You need to be able to navigate the code base. So it's a little bit more challenging. Obviously, it's more powerful than a video course, and that's why, like in terms of SaaS companies, we see a lot of unicorn. A SaaS company like can easily become a unicorn. Well, not easily, but I haven't come across a company that was a unicorn. In other words, $1 billion company that was focused on video courses. So that's the proof point, as to why you should create web applications. There's another model, the number 4 model, called the membership site, that for me is really the best, because it combines the 3 product types here, in the sense that when you launch a membership site, and that's why like my 3 ventures are membership sites first, because it's more flexible. So here I'm going to put number 4. A membership site is flexible because you can charge something like, I don't know, $10 a month, like Netflix or Prime from Amazon, and you can offer them ebooks. You can offer video courses, you can offer audios, podcasts, templates, plugins. I don't do plugins, but probably I should. Chrome extensions, even source code that you release for free, web applications, software program. I mean, you can create a bunch of products, and you tell your members, they're not customers, they're members. The difference is that a member can interact within the community. A customer cannot do that. So a member, your members can get all of this, and they're part of a community where they can do networking, they can make new friends, they can get support from your admins that you're going to appoint in your Facebook group or your LinkedIn group. There is so much value that people get, and remember, it's only $10 a month, and so you have a whole month to upgrade and update all of these products. So for those reasons, I think that definitely a membership site business model is really the best, and it maintains a relationship with your customers so that you can get paid $10 every month, so the income is not limited, as is the case for an ebook. I have friends who try to create an ebook, but I'm telling you, look, an ebook's like it's just not worth it. You can create an ebook, but make it part of a membership site. So it's an ebook, a video course, it's like the whole shebang. So my artificial business intelligence is mostly going to focus on helping people to create membership sites. So that's something I commit to. My artificial business intelligence is going to be specialized, because I don't really see the point, in other business models. And also, ABI is going to focus on, obviously, digital products. As you can see, all of these are digital. We're not shipping anything. It's going to help people to build a community. So that's what ABI, Artificial Business Intelligence, is going to focus on. We're not going to focus on retail stores. So if you're setting up a retail store on a physical street, like a physical store, ABI is probably not for you. If you're offering professional services, ABI unfortunately is not for you. If you're a solopreneur or you don't intend to create jobs in the future, ABI is probably not for you. But anyways, let me just clearly mention, my artificial business intelligence. Who is it for? Because ultimately, right now, ABI is free, but eventually I want to charge like a small price. But let's talk about, who ABI is for and what kind of specialization. Because that's one thing that, you're going to realize quickly in business. You cannot create a product for everybody. You have to specialize. So ABI specializes in digital value. The difference between digital value and digital products is that a product is like packaged, whereas value, it's not always packaged, right? So think of value as, apples, but a product is a package of 12 apples. So that's the difference, digital value, between digital value and product. But anyways, they're both digital. ABI is going to focus on membership sites. So you can create a membership site very easily on Gumroad, where Gumroad is where you're selling digital goods. You can set it up as a membership. You charge $10, $5. What's amazing about Gumroad, when you're getting started and you're not sure about your value and you just want to test it, you can set up something like pay what you want. So people can enter an amount and you can put a minimum of $1 or even $0, and people can pay what they want per month. They can say, you know what, Peter, your calligraphy website, to me it has a value of $5 per month. I'll pay that. And another person who's more, let's say, financially comfortable, she can decide to pay $20 a month because she might have 3 kids, and she thinks that $20 a month to teach calligraphy to her kids is worth it. So that's one advantage on Gumroad, pay what you want. But I'm not a big fan of that, because when you say pay what you want, it's like you don't know the value that you're offering. So I think it's better to put a fixed amount like $5, and that's it. That's the value that you offer. $5 per month is very low, and you can create different tiers, right? You can create, the first tier is $5 a month. People have access to a certain content, and at a second level, it's $20 a month, where they have access to more premium content. So anyways, my ABI, Artificial Business Intelligence, is going to focus on membership sites. A third area where we specialize, let me see. Maybe we're going to encourage people to set up a Facebook group and or a LinkedIn group. And the reason why is that Facebook and LinkedIn are advanced platforms. So, it's very easy to manage a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group. A fourth characteristic or specialization for my artificial business intelligence that is going to focus on knowledge. It's going to, focus on people who want to teach, coach, tutoring, etc. Now that's not a big requirement, but I think that if you are a knowledgeable person, if you're an expert, if you have succeeded in the field, then ABI is going to be very useful to you, because we're going to help you to, develop ebooks, courses. These courses can be by video, it can be by email, it can be, the format can be different for different people. We're going to help you to create applications that educate people and that train people and even test people. We're going to help you to create software programs that people can download to their computers. Although that's a little bit tricky, because when people download a software program, their antivirus might be triggered. But when they, browse and play with your web application, there's no virus issues. So a web application is probably the best, because it's on the web. People don't have to download anything. But sometimes, a software program is good because it's more sophisticated and it has to take into account the files located on the user's PC. But that's really advanced. That's when you get to a point where, they really trust you. But nowadays, I think like even big companies, they prefer to offer the applications on the web. Even Microsoft or, Google, it's all web applications. You don't have to download anything. So these are the areas that my artificial business intelligence will focus on. So if you're currently planning to launch a product that has a business that has these characteristics, it's digital, focus on membership, and you're on Facebook or you're on LinkedIn, and you have knowledge to share, then ABI is going to be useful for you. ABI is not going to be for the following. Now, I'm going to, issue a caveat. When I say not for, what I mean is probably not for. There are cases where you can still benefit from ABI. So it's not for a physical retail store, because I don't know much about retail or how to do location analysis to find the perfect spot for your retail store. I don't know how to manage your retail sales clerks or how to do merchandising. So retail stores, it's capital intensive, it's physical, it's really anachronistic. It's not real aligned with the internet economy, the AI economy that we have today. So ABI is not for physical retail stores. It's not for professional services, although you can, from your professional service, you can create digital value. So you can start with a professional service. Like I used to be a teacher, right? So teachers who offer professional service or coaches, they can become the creator of a membership site where they are offering their ebooks, their courses, but through a membership site. So, it might not be for you, but if you make the effort to transition from offering a professional service to offering a product like an ebook or, a course or a web application, then ABI is going to help you. But if you want to remain a professional services provider, like a teacher who's teaching in person in a classroom, or a coach where you have to meet people in person, or you teach them on Zoom, or if you're an accountant and you want to maintain that professional service, then ABI is not going to be for you, unfortunately. ABI is also not for people who don't have or don't want to, let's say don't have useful knowledge. But this is not a showstopper, because you can be a 20-year-old, right, who doesn't have a lot of professional knowledge, but you can still interview a professional, a successful person, and create, a membership site. And so you see a lot on YouTube. You have like Lewis Howes, you have, I don't know, London Real Brian, I think his name, London Real. He has a YouTube video. His name is Brian, I think. You have Grant Cardone, who does have a university, and still he's interviewing experts. So Grant Cardone is not a good example, but you have Brian from London Real. He's not really an expert in anything. He used to be a banker. You have Lewis Howes, who used to be an athlete, but he's interviewing tons of people, experts. And so even if you don't have useful knowledge, you can still interview people and create videos. So here I'm going to put like video interviews. And you can put your video interviews inside of a membership site with a paywall. And so it's not a showstopper, but it's not for people who don't have useful knowledge and who don't want to interview anyone. So, you have to start acquiring useful knowledge if you want to have a successful business and you want to leverage AI. So anyways, another characteristic of businesses or entrepreneurs or people that ABI cannot help are the people who are, not ambitious. And I know this is obvious, but if you currently have a job and you're okay with your salary, then this is not for you. Like, even if your salary is $90,000 or $30,000, but you're not ambitious, you don't want more out of life, ABI cannot help you. Like, ABI cannot, develop your motivation. Or maybe it can, after you join ABI or you hear about it, we're going to have presenters who explain what ABI is. Maybe it's going to motivate you, but you've got to have some baseline motivation. Like, if you think that, your life is good and you're financially good, like you might be an investor who is okay with his net worth, then ABI is not for you. Like, you really have to be ambitious. So let me put it here, for ambitious people. And that means, like, you want to 10x or 10x your net worth. It's not just about making like a little bit more money with Bitcoin, or making 20%, 30% more money. No, I'm talking about doubling your net worth, not your income, your net worth, or 10x your income. So it's really for ambitious people, because that's the capability of ABI. So if you're not ambitious, it's not for you. If you're okay with your net worth, like, I don't care, even if you have like, $5 million in net worth and you think it's okay, I don't think it's okay. I think you should aim for 50 million. But if you have $5 million and it's okay with you, and that's fine, more power to you. I'm not judging people, but ABI is not for you. You've got to have the internal motivation, in order to use ABI, because ABI at the beginning is going to be free, but at some point we're going to charge something. So money is not the obstacle. Your lack of motivation and your belief system is going to stop you from leveraging ABI, which is going to be created by so many smart people. ABI is like, let me just put it here, it's like a chess engine for business success. I'm going to talk more about it, but when you start to use ABI, it's like you have a chess engine and you can beat Magnus Carlsen, the #1 player in the world. Okay, think about that for a minute. You can beat the #1 player in the world. You can beat 1,000 grandmaster chess players. You can beat them even while you're sleeping when you have access to my ABI. It's going to make you so powerful. It's going to make you so much money that you're going to regret not joining ABI. Like, I promise you, ABI is going to be that powerful. And so, but you need to have a motivation. So if you're not ambitious, or if you think that, think that money is bad, you think that rich people are crooked, you think that, should help the poor, and you have this kind of mentality where, it's a zero-sum game. You're thinking, no, I don't want to make so much money. I want to help people in Africa. I want to help poor people. I mean, this tends to be the loser mentality who cannot get rich by herself, and therefore she's trying to be virtuous. But it's really a twisted way of thinking. Like, if you really want to help the poor, if you really want to help people, the best way to help people is for you to become freaking rich. And then you can become a philanthropist. You can inspire poor people in developing countries. But anyways, my point is that if you have the wrong belief system, money is bad, capitalism is corrupt, and exploitative. I mean, those are such toxic belief system that, you're never going to get rich with or without AI. And Harv Eker is going to help you to heal from those wrong beliefs. So just read the book by Harv Eker. It's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He's going to help you to uncover your self-limiting beliefs about money, work, self-promotion, etc. And I came across Harv Eker's book and conference in 2008, so I learned everything about him. I learned from him stuff I didn't even learn at McGill University. So Harv Eker's principles and techniques are going to be part of ABI, because I think, as far as I know, and I've read over 1,000 business books, non-fiction books, I've never come across a book like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's so powerful. It combines spirituality with financial knowledge and business and entrepreneurship. Anyone who hasn't read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is robbing himself, herself. You have to read that book. It's the only book of its kind. Read it. Go online, find it, buy it. Guys, come on, spend $20. Get that book. Get it shipped to you. Get it on Kindle. Read that book. If you don't read that book, you're robbing yourself of millions of dollars. Seriously. Okay, so if you have the wrong belief system, it's not for you. If you, let me think, it's not for people who are currently involved in a crisis. For example, unfortunately, if you're going through a divorce, if you're going through death in the family, if you have some kind of severe illness, it's probably not for you. You should try to resolve those issues first. So it's for stable people. Not everyone is 100% stable, but stable people enough, physically and emotionally. So if you have physical and some kind of a minimum of psychological stability and physical stability, then it's for you. But if you have issues like anger management and you can't control your temper and you get into fights with people, or if you have alcoholism, or if you're obese because you can't control what you put into your mouth, it's not for you. Like, you should really focus on getting your shit together, excuse my French, but really get control of yourself before Abby can help you. Now, it's possible that Abby is going to transform the way you think. It's very possible that Abby is going to convince you that you should become peaceful with your divorce. You part ways with your husband, your wife. You should become friends. You should try to find peace for the sake of the kids, etc. You should understand spiritually that death is not a bad thing. People exit life on their own terms at precisely the time that they need to, that they want to. You have to respect their journey. You might have lost a family member, but I know it's difficult. I lost my father, but understand that it's their journey. They exited this incarnation at the perfect time for them, and you have to be happy for them because they're in heaven. The same thing with illnesses. Something is going on in your mind. You got to fix it. All the illnesses of the body are created by something, a belief system, a thought that you're having in your mind. Whether it's a heart condition, whether it's obesity, your mind is creating it. Okay, so the body is a teaching device. Your body teaches you what you're thinking in your mind. So whatever illness you have in your body, including cancer, it's because your mind is misdirected. You're not using your mind properly. You're not trying to find humor, happiness. You're not trying to hang around with happy people, but instead, you're watching CNN and all the negative news, which is very toxic, or you're wasting time on TikTok. You're just amusing yourself to death. Amusing Yourself to Death is a book by Neil Postman, and where he submits that people are just watching content. Originally it was on TV, but now it's on YouTube, and they're just wasting their time. And it's especially deleterious to young people who should focus on developing their skills and, learn how to study, acquire new hobbies. Teenagers, for example, are wasting so much time on social media. I totally agree with Professor Cal Newport, who has been arguing against social media for young people or for adults. We're just amusing ourselves to death by using TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all the stupid videos that give you a dopamine hit. It's just wasting your life away. So Abby is not for you if you're being controlled by TikTok. Okay, so if you have TikTok, please, let it go. TikTok is toxic. It's just wasting your life one video at a time, so 30 seconds at a time. So let go of TikTok. TikTok is a black hole that is wasting your life and sucking your time, attention, and energy, one video at a time. I know they're very good because I downloaded TikTok, I think twice or three times, just to do research. But somehow the videos are so good that I was addicted to TikTok for a number of hours, and suddenly I slapped myself in the face like, Peter, you are such an idiot. Why are you being controlled by big tech AI, and TikTok has an AI that is pointed at your head, okay? And it's telling you you gotta scroll to the next video, man. You gotta do it. I'm gonna give you a dopamine hit. You're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good, and you know what? You feel good. You feel good. It's like cocaine. You feel good, and then you just wasted a week, a month. So please get off TikTok. Don't even have it on your phone. I don't even have X on my phone. It's just people talking to each other. Like, it's useless. I read books. I read content. I watch YouTube videos where, there's an actual conference. Because, when you watch a YouTube video of a conference, it means that the speaker or the teacher prepared, properly. And so what he's saying is valuable enough for people to attend his conference or his lecture in person. But when you watch YouTube video of a guy who's reviewing something that's happening in the news or who's interviewing another bozo, you're just wasting your time. So you have to be clear about value. So TikTok is not for people who unconsciously waste their time. Like, these people have low IQ or low judgment or low self-esteem, and they're giving away their time to all the bozos on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, and don't be an idiot, okay? Like, I know it sounds a little bit harsh, but I'm a little bit like Charlie Munger, the late Charlie Munger, who was an associate of Warren Buffett and who taught Warren Buffett a thing or two. Charlie often talks about the idiots, the stupid people, the dumb people out there, and he's not very he's not very politically correct. But I agree with him. There are people who are stupid, who are idiots, and you don't want to be part of that crowd. Like, you want to be smart. Sorry, what's going on here? You want to be smart. You want to be in the smart crowd. Sorry guys, I'm having some difficulty here. You want to be with the smart crowd, and obviously you're watching this live stream, so I assume that you're smarter than the average person who would rather watch a Netflix video or something, a movie, instead of actually learning how to get rich, which is what I'm going to teach you here. Let me just... So, in other words, ABI, it's not for everyone. Like, I would love for everyone to get smart with ABI, but I cannot control what people do with their lives. Like, if you're you don't value your time and you give away your time to TikTok, I'm sorry, but I cannot help you. Like, because you don't value your time, you don't value yourself. And so you got to fix that issue first. You got to love yourself and tell yourself, life is short, and I'm not going to give away my time to stupid people online, Facebook, YouTube, like Mr. Beast, for example. He sounds like a sincere guy, but that guy has wasted so much time from people. Mr. Beast, he's just wasting people's time through mindless entertainment. Like, I've been talking for 46 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that in the last 46 minutes I've given you more value than you can get from dozens of videos by Mr. Beast. He's entertaining, that's for sure. He has a talent for that, but he's an entertainer. Like, unless you are already rich and you just want entertainment, you shouldn't be watching Mr. Beast, not even 5 minutes. Now, this is not a moral judgment, okay? I'm not saying that, forgot his name, but I'm not saying that Mr. Beast is a bad person. It's not a moral judgment. It's a technical judgment. Technical judgment in the sense that if your goal is to make money, then Mr. Beast is not for you. You should find teachers like myself, teachers who actually want you to learn business so that you can make money. There's no mention in any of Mr. Beast's videos about how to enrich yourself, how to increase your net worth. That's not his goal. And once again, it's not a moral judgment. I think that he's a great guy. He's a great entertainer, but he's totally the wrong person to subscribe to on YouTube if you want to learn how to make money. So anyways, enough about this ranting. I just want to make sure that you understand that you have to be absolutely ruthless. And this is something I'm going to talk about later on. You have to learn the secrets of success before you even use ABI, my artificial business intelligence. These are secrets that if I ask you, you cannot mention them because you don't know them, right? So if you don't know those secrets, you're not going to be successful in your life, or you're not going to be as successful as you could be. So this is something we're going to talk about later on. But let's continue with, who ABI is not for. It's not for people who are unconscious, who are currently zombies, who are sleeping through life, and who don't love themselves. And what I mean by people who don't love themselves is that they don't have a clear goals. Like a lot of people might be buying cosmetics, designer shoes, designer dresses, etc., brand names, but they don't really love themselves because they're just loving the brand names. They're just loving their ego. They don't have a clear goal for what they want to do in life. Like, you have to remember that you will die much sooner than you think. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you, like, whatever age you think you're going to die, whether it's 70, whether it's 80, like even people who are very healthy, they think, you know what, I'm going to live until I'm 90. No, you're going to die much sooner. Something's going to happen. You're going to exit the game. So you know that your time on earth is limited. Okay, you have to be aware of that. And so you have to establish clear goals. Like, what do you want to have in your bank account? What kind of house you want to buy? What kind of spouse you want to have, a husband or wife? How many children? What kind of clothes you want to have? What kind of cars? What kind of boats? What kind of computers? What kind of video games, VR headsets? What is it that you want? You've got to have clear goals. If you don't have a clear goal, ABI could be the best in the world, like better than ChatGPT. ABI, my goal with ABI, by the way, is to eventually able to charge like $84 a month. That's an intermediate goal, but eventually, I'd love to be able to charge $10,000 a month for ABI. I'll talk more about that, but ABI can charge $10,000 a month, and I can give it away to you for free, but it's not going to help you if you don't have a clear goal. And when it comes to ABI, it's specifically a goal about money. So, if you don't have a clear goal about money, how much money you want to make or what is your net worth, then ABI is not going to help you. Okay. So there are so many people and so many situations and so many business models that ABI is excluding. And by the way, I'm talking about ABI right now, but in your case, think about your product. Think about what your product will cover, the characteristics, and for whom, and think about what your products will not cover and the people it will explicitly exclude, right? So I'm excluding, for example, the freelancers who want to become freelancers, or the artists who don't want to learn about business. These are people who will never win under capitalism. Or I exclude people who are employees and who want to remain employees, like they are like children, and they don't want to grow and evolve into an independent creator or entrepreneur. They're employees, and they argue things like, oh, it's better to be an employee than an entrepreneur because you have security, you can hang around with other people every day, you dress up, you look good, you smell good. I mean, these people will never win under capitalism because they don't understand that being an employee is not what capitalism is designed for. They don't understand capitalism or business. And so they will criticize capitalism, they will criticize business owners. They just don't get it, and they're going to be losers. So I have to let them go. ABI is not created for them. It's created for the people who are, ambitious, who are motivated, who are self-motivated, who are proactive, willing to learn Not necessarily to do the hard work, because today AI can do the hard work for you, but you have to learn, the basics of programming. For example, you have to be able to, think and act like the boss. So many people don't know how to act like a boss. Like even parents, who in a way, parents are the boss for their children. When it comes to business, they step aside. No, I don't want to be the boss or the leader in business or at the workplace. No, you have to change. It's really for people who want to become leaders. I'm not saying that you have to become a leader, but you have to be either a leader or, wanting to become a leader. And it's really not hard. I'll teach you later on a live stream about leadership, but it's just about feeling the fear, the doubt, the hesitation, and doing it anyways. Okay, just do it. Feel the fear and just freaking do it. Do it, man. Do it. Don't be afraid. So ABI is not for everyone. I would say that probably ABI is for 5% of 10% of the population. This is in Canada where I live, or North America, but it's probably for, 70% of people in developing countries. And what I mean is that people in developing countries, they don't have an infrastructure, they don't have a middle class, they don't have a nice office job. They are selling on the street, and they have to survive. So these people are more motivated to use ABI to make money, not necessarily to get rich, just to make money to survive. So the motivation of these people in developing countries is much greater than the motivation of people in developed nations, where they have a job, and in a way it's bad, because people here have a job. They're not motivated to become entrepreneurs, and therefore only 5 or 10% of them are motivated, because they always can rely on the job. But wait till artificial general intelligence will eliminate their job, then they will suddenly become super motivated, like the people in developing countries who don't have a job, and therefore they rely on ABI. So I'm expecting ABI to be much more popular with people in developing countries, and ABI is going to be available in like dozens of languages. It's not hard to translate. So that's in a nutshell what ABI is all about, and the people that ABI is not going to help. So if you're among these people, you need to change. You need to abandon TikTok if you want to become rich. You need to abandon social media. You need to become a creator, not a consumer. Don't be a useful idiots for Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? The people on Facebook who just scroll and just like this and write comments, or who just watch one TikTok video after, they're useful idiots. They're working for free for the social media big tech companies, and they're not getting paid. So you want to get smart. You want to work for yourself. These are the people ABI wants to serve. The people who want financial freedom. But it's not, I wish I had financial freedom. These are the people who buy lottery tickets. And it's not, I want to have financial freedom. It's, I commit to doing what it takes. That's what I mean by wanting. So maybe I should use another word. They commit to the path to financial freedom. Wishing, again, you're buying lottery tickets. Wanting, you talk about it, but you don't do it. Commit means you commit time and money. I committed to learning business at the tune of $17,000 for my McGill business education. That's my commitment. What is your commitment? How much money have you spent on your learning? Have you spent like $10,000? No, you're not committed enough. People here are so afraid. They go online. Oh, I want free stuff. Everything is free online. They can't even pay like $500 for a coaching program. How can they possibly learn? They want to learn by themselves. Good luck. Unless you learn from a teacher who has done it, like myself. You can't learn. Like if you're a student, you can't teach yourself. You can't get like free YouTube videos. And, I'm going to teach myself. No, you can't. Because a teacher is more than an information provider. A teacher is actually going to look at what you're doing, and he's going to tell you, John, here are all the things you're doing wrong. So change them, correct them. That's what a teacher does. A teacher is correcting you. What you're getting from YouTube, even from ChatGPT, it's not a teacher. You're getting an information provider. ChatGPT is great at providing information, but you got to act, okay? So It's for action-oriented people. Action-oriented people, not just the readers or the consumer of content. Okay, these are just consumers of content online, and the content is free online, so you get what you pay for. If your content that you're getting is free, well, the value is $0 by definition. So you actually have to pay, you have to commit, you have to invest, willing to invest. So these are the people in themselves, the people who are likely to get value from ABI. All right, let me just take a 5-minute break and I'll be right back. I just have to go get a drink. All right, welcome back. So let's continue with ABI, and we're going to get very practical this time and talk about how ABI can actually help you. And as we said, we're going to focus on digital products. And as I mentioned, instead of creating just an ebook or video course or web application, your best bet is to create all of them and put them under a membership business model. So your membership can charge $10 or $20 a month, and you will offer all of this valuable content to your customers. And actually they're members, right? So they're paying you every month. And so now we're going to get into the practical details of how to create these ebooks and video courses and web applications. And keep in mind that you're not going to be the only creator and contributor, because you're going to invite members to contribute content to your membership site. So the way that it happens, the way that it happens is that, let me just draw a new diagram, is that you want to create a business model that is open on both sides. So what I mean here is that your membership site should have two markets. On the left hand side, you have the contributors, and these are people who contribute valuable content to your membership organization or membership site. Organization seems intimidating, so that's why I say membership site. It's just a website. And on the right hand side, you have the people who are members. Okay, so they're paying you a certain amount per month. And so ABI is going to help you to set up this membership site. So that's the business model that we recommend, because as I said earlier, it's the easiest one to implement. And there are at least like 20 or 25 different business models, and we're going to focus on the membership business model. I'm going to mention maybe later the other business models that we don't focus on, but right now I don't have time. I'm just going to focus on the membership business model, where you have contributors on the left hand side and members who contribute cash. So these are people who contribute value, and here the members contribute value, but except that the value comes in the form of $10 a month. And to get these members, you might want to, you don't have to, because $10 is not a lot of money, but in the future you might want to create an affiliate program where you pay affiliates 30% of the revenues that they bring to you. So every time that affiliates bring a member who pays $10 a month, the affiliate would get $3 per month per subscriber. But anyways, that's more into the future. Right now, we just want to focus on the contributors and the members. Now, to make it very practical, I'm going to apply the artificial business intelligence to a particular membership site. Actually, 3 of them. So I'm going to use a case study for my own calligraphyforeveryone.com. So this is a membership site where I charge members $10 a month, and they have access to all my video tutorials on calligraphy, so they can learn calligraphy from the comfort of their own home. So for $10 a month, they have access to library of tutorial videos. So tutorial is different from a course. A course is more like structured content, let's say 10 modules. So here I'm just gonna point out the difference. So a video course, let's say I sell my calligraphy video course for beginners for $100, and it's called calligraphy for beginners. So it would have 10 modules, and each modules would be like a 10-minute clip. So that's a video course, and they also access PDF files, etc. So it's a video course that has 10 modules, and each module has a 10-minute clip. So it's a total of 100 minutes total. So that's a video course. A tutorial is different. A tutorial is like Khan Academy, where it's just a 5-minute or 10-minute video. So there can be a bunch of video tutorials that are not really related to each other. You can take them in any order, but a video course, the 10 modules have to be in order. Like you have to follow module 1, and you do a test, and then you follow module 2, etc. So a video course is more expensive because it is very well structured. It has instructional design, and I'm going to talk more about it later on, but the instructional design is based on the ABI framework. And this is a framework that you need to master if you're going to create a good video course, or like a course in general. But here, for only $10 a month, they have access to all the tutorial videos. They don't have access to the $100 video course. Now, for those who have been a member for a while, they learn everything from the tutorial videos, and now they might be ready to actually purchase the video course because they see the value from my teaching. There's no doubt in their minds. So I can pitch them the $100 video course, or they can just remain with the tutorial video, which is fine. But there's a limit to how much they can learn from these tutorials, right? Like this is really more advanced. But anyways, let's forget about the video course and focus on the $10 a month. So in your membership site, you just offer $10 a month, and they have access to all your content. And the way to continually increase the value of the membership is to have a contributors program. And so in the case of my calligraphy membership site, I can invite other calligraphy teachers, calligraphy masters and teachers to contribute content for free. Now, why would they do that for free? Well, first of all, they get publicity because this calligraphy website is going to be worldwide in multiple languages. So they get free exposure, and because they are properly credited, we can send our viewers and members to their websites, and then they can convert that traffic into their own, customers and members. And the reason for me to invite calligraphy masters and teachers is that I cannot teach everything about calligraphy, right? So, for example, there might be teachers who specialize in Gothic, Uncial, Foundation, Roman. They are way better than I am right now regarding these styles. So I would invite them, and they can contribute their expert content while I'm focused on italic calligraphy. And so, of course, they can also share their italic calligraphy, which is probably different from my italic calligraphy, but I'm focused more on teachers of these different styles. Or they could be like craftsmen, and they can teach how to do engravings, like on glass, on sculpture, or what we call three-dimensional calligraphy, like signage, tons of different media, inks, paints, writing instruments, etc. So there's tons of things to be explored when it comes to calligraphy. Like I'm a specialist when it comes to italic, black and white. So I'm a very foundational calligraphy teacher, but these teachers and masters and artisans are more like very specialized. So they contribute value. And one thing that I can do to reward them is that if they become a contributor and they become an affiliate, that instead of getting 30% in affiliate commissions, maybe I can give them, so I'm going to call them contributing affiliates, meaning that they contribute content, but they have to contribute a minimum amount of content, okay, like not just one video, but maybe 5 videos or something significant. And then they become contributing affiliates and they can earn like 40%. So of course they have to be an affiliate, but when they promote this membership site, they will get $4 per member per month. And so they have a financial incentive to promote this website as an affiliate. Like, I'm willing to go even up to 50% for the true masters, right? So so they become like an equal business partner. They make $5 per subscriber per month. And they have to move fast, by the way, because they're not the only ones who are connected to their people. So if they don't promote the website and become an affiliate, then their friends who do will take the $5 per month per subscriber, per member. So this is the value side. And one thing that ABI teaches you is that business is really about innovation and marketing. So let me just put it here so that it's very clear. Business, very simply, it's about innovation. So this is where you create new value. And business is also fundamentally, critically, about marketing. So this is where you acquire customers. There's nothing really other than these two critical functions. And it's kind of surprising that MBA programs and business schools create a program in 3 years. For MBA programs, it's 2 years full-time. And they teach all kinds of stuff like operations, human resources, and accounting. And those can be important for a big organization. But ultimately, when you start a new business, you just have to create value. And you just have to acquire customers, or in this case, members. So can you see that when we adopt the membership business model, can you see that acquiring customers is much easier because customers only pay $10 a month and they can cancel at any time. So without a membership model, I would be forced to sell a $100 video course. But $100 for a lot of people, that's a lot of money, right? And so I'm going to get way fewer customers than if I charge $10 a month. Because for $10 a month, let's say someone who is really desperate, they can register for $10 a month, and for 30 days, they can just download all my video files, and after that, they cancel. They walk away with the entire library, and it costs them only $10. So it's a great deal. Of course, I want them to stay at $10 because, I'm going to create more content in the future. But I'm just saying that, worst comes to worst, they pay $10, they access all my content. They don't have to pay, $100 for the video course. So that's why the membership business model is what ABI recommends, because it's easier to find customers and it's easy to create value. Like, even without these external contributors, by myself, I can just create tons of tutorial videos, and that would be enough value for people to pay $10 a month. So, ABI focuses on the easiest business model. In the future, ABI could help people to create a video course, but creating a video course, that's just like 5 or 10%. You have to market that video course, and that's where the trouble starts to come in. So that's why ABI focuses on membership side. Like I say here, $10 because I think I'm pretty confident at $10. But if you're starting out and you don't have a lot of expertise in your area, like I have over 30 years of experience in calligraphy, but if you don't have a lot of expertise and experience, you can charge like just $5, and that will be okay. You charge $5, and maybe you can create a second tier where you charge like $10, but you offer more value. So that's the way to do business with a membership site. Now, in terms of platform, just want to mention quickly the options that you might have. I tried Patreon before, but it's not working that well. So let me talk about the difference, because I see a lot of people create a membership site on Patreon versus Gumroad. And so my particular opinion is that Patreon is for people who have a hobby or who are non-serious. And what I mean by non-serious is that they're not committed to their membership. Gumroad is more like for serious people. Like, it's really business oriented. So Patreon is good if you're not sure and you're a creator. You create, I don't know, comic books, you create cartoons, you create music, but you're not really an expert. You're just like a hobbyist. You're still good. You're still better than most people. You're a YouTuber, you're a content creator. But so Patreon is easy. But I find that Gumroad is much better if you're serious. So this is for more like for serious entrepreneurs. It's very rare that I see a serious entrepreneur have a Patreon account or page. So Patreon is where you start. That's where I started. I made, I think, like over $300. That's it. You know, from 2 patrons who paid me $5 a month. That's it. Gumroad, it's much more for serious entrepreneurs. It's more flexible, etc. And there's a third community platform that I began to talk about, but I find that they're just too complex, just too many apps, and complexity is really the enemy of business. So Gumroad is simple. WAP is just too complex, too many apps, too much distraction, and WAP doesn't, no affiliate program, which is really bad because you want your affiliates to bring customers to you. Gumroad has an excellent affiliate program. So that's a major reason why I stick with Gumroad and I've abandoned WAP. WAP might change in the future, but right now they're created by 3 young people and it's just too hectic, too energetic. Gumroad is more calm, has more experience. So Gumroad is the clear winner in my opinion. So ABI is going to focus on teaching you how to use and leverage and optimize Gumroad. We're not going to focus on Patreon or WAP, but I mentioned them here because chances are you might come across those platforms. So my opinion is that Gumroad is the clear winner. All right, so what else can I share with you? So that's my case, but let's talk about your situation. You're probably not an expert in calligraphy. You're not starting a membership site on teaching people calligraphy through videos and Zoom sessions. So, let's talk about how someone like you can create a membership site. So the first step is that you've got to decide on what knowledge do you have that is really valuable. And to do that, I'm going to create a new diagram that's going to show very clearly, I believe, the challenge that you have. So here on the left hand side, let's say that you have knowledge, and it's not a closed circle, it's a open circle, because I'm assuming that over time you're going to increase your knowledge, so it becomes like a spiral. So that's why it's an open circle. So anyways, you have your knowledge here. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to identify the knowledge that you have which is valuable for other people. And what I mean by valuable is that they're willing to pay you for it. And so we're going to represent that willingness to pay, or that group of people, with a circle over here. So this circle represents it represents knowledge that I'm going to define people later on, but knowledge that people are willing to pay you for. So whether they pay you through an ebook, let's say you're a successful investor, or they pay you through a Zoom session, a boot camp, a video course, whatever format your knowledge comes in, they're willing to pay you. And that's the important thing. And so the intersection with your knowledge, so I'm just going to put here I'm going to put expert knowledge. And again, we're going to define expert later on, but let's just flow with this for a minute. So this is your expert knowledge. So where you're going to be making money, where you should concentrate is here, because this is where you have knowledge that can be translated into money. Okay, so this is your sweet spot. This is the cornerstone of your empire. This is the foundation of your future cash flow. Okay, what's over here is knowledge that you have, and I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge, but it's not knowledge that people are willing to pay you for, and there are different reasons for that. So here's your expert knowledge. I'm just going to put knowledge for short. That is not monetizable. Okay, your unmonetizable knowledge. So you have to be careful not to develop knowledge, in this area, because you can become super smart in that area, but it's not going to help you to make more money. Okay, you have to become smart in this area, because this is where you're making money. This is where people are paying you for. So to give you an example, again, based on my calligraphy membership site, I can read, about Sumerian plates. The Sumerians are the people who invented writing like about 3400 BC. This is before the Chinese, who invented Chinese ideograms and symbols in 1200 BC. I can read about the history, watch documentaries, and acquire all the information about the origins of writings and calligraphy, but this knowledge might be interesting, might be useful to me, but it's not where the money is. Number one, because people are not interested in that. Okay, and number two, they can find the same information online. So it's useless for me to develop this kind of knowledge. I mean, I can do for my own personal culture, but it's not useful for making money. What would be useful, knowledge that I can develop that would be useful, would be something like, let's see, I can test different calligraphy nibs. I can test speedball nibs versus osmiroid, or I can test different fountain calligraphy pens. Like some pens are really interesting. They are flexible, so that when you apply more pressure, the stroke is thicker. So that's something that might be more useful to people here, because you have to test it, right? And it's practical. Fountain pens are practical. Or how to create new projects. So that's the kind of knowledge that I should acquire, because it can be in that zone, that overlap zone between my expert knowledge and the knowledge that people are willing to pay. So I think that is going to be a central challenge for you, because as you know, you can go online and find all kinds of knowledge, but your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to find and acquire knowledge that you can actually sell to other people. Okay, so this is where you're going to work. This is where you're going to create knowledge products that you can sell to people, and that's what the dollar signs represent over here. So let's take an example that's very practical. It's not related to calligraphy, but it's related to something that a lot of people are interested in. So let's take the case of an investor. So this investor has been successful. So already he's got the attention of people. So here, let's say he's learning through ChatGPT, he's learning about options trading, and he learns really fast. Like he can go from 0 to 5, like, because he's getting like a personal tutor, a personal teacher. So, he can even ask ChatGPT to write 10 prompts that will teach him about options trading, and ChatGPT will give him 10 prompts, and then he uses those 10 prompts to get answers from ChatGPT. So he can learn really fast. He can spend a lot of time here. But this is not monetizable knowledge, because other people can do the same. And he's not an expert in options trading. So if he creates a membership site on options trading, nobody is going to join, even for $5, because he doesn't have a track record. But let's say that he does have a track record as let's say a value investor, and let's say that in 2008 he was able to make like 40% or something, return, because he bought stocks when they were very low, and he used certain principles, and he had emotional control, and he had all kinds of calculations, and some of it is intuition. But he's able to make a bunch of money with value investing or with Bitcoin investing. I'm just going to put Bitcoin here. And suddenly people are very interested because this guy is successful. He's legit. He has credibility, right? So all he has to do is just somehow create like an ebook that talks about his success, as an investor, and he shares his story, how he was able to overcome his bias, what books he was reading, and now he's probably going to be able to sell that ebook, that video course, that podcast for $10. And $10 might not seem like a lot, but if he shares or sells to people on the internet, on LinkedIn, for example, where we have professionals who are somewhat serious about their financial future, then we're talking about like easily $20,000 in revenue. Again, you have to focus on the fact that an ebook for $10 that captures his entire experience, his success as an investor. $10 is not a lot of money, right? It's just a matter of marketing and offering to 2,000 people on LinkedIn, and there's 1 billion people on LinkedIn. So this is an example of someone who has been successful and can create a $10 information product and can sell it. Like he doesn't even have to sell it. Like, his ebook, he can offer to affiliates like 50%. And every time that an affiliate can sell the book at $10, the affiliate would make $5. But my point here is that he can either focus on acquiring new knowledge regarding options trading, and this new knowledge might be useful and interesting for him, but it's perfectly useless in the marketplace because nobody is going to be willing to pay. And that's why this options trading knowledge is in the non-monetizable zone. Okay, but here, this knowledge that he has that is based on his own experience, and I'm sure he can provide tons of details. He can go on and describe his state of mind, the information he had, everything during the global financial reset 2008. That could be an amazing story where he shares the mistakes he made and the calculations he made, the judgment, and I'm sure that a lot of people would be willing to buy this kind of knowledge. So I'm going to put it in blue to represent the fact that this is actually very valuable. So let's, oops, sorry. Sorry guys, my thing just crashed, so I'm just going to open it. But anyways, just want to mention that this investor, if he focused on the right information from his own experience, he can easily create an information product that would be selling online, because people are more than willing to pay for knowledge, especially financial knowledge that will help them to get rich. So it's just a matter of, knowing what information people are willing to pay for and zero in on that information, because it's useless to do something or acquire information that people are not willing to pay for. And as you know, there's tons of people on the internet who are starving for information, and they have $10 to pay, and so it's not difficult for them to to pay for that information. Sorry, I just lost my file, so let me just go back here. Sorry about this, guys. By the way, the loss of this this file that just crashed, it just reminds me that when you have knowledge and you don't save it in the form of a document, then you lose it forever. But basically what I was saying very simply is that on the one hand you have your knowledge, and on the other hand you have what people are willing to pay for, and the money is going to be made at the intersection here, and this is where you should focus your knowledge acquisition. Like every day when you go on YouTube, you have to know what kind of information you're looking for. If you're watching a podcast by Joe Rogan, I love Joe, great guy, but I've watched like countless hours of Joe Rogan. There's nothing useful in what he's saying. But if you go on a YouTube channel that teaches something about business, finance, investing, that's where you acquire the valuable information, and you can sell that information to people here who are willing to pay for it. So that's the challenge, I think, that for most professionals, for the 1 billion users on LinkedIn, the challenge is, but first of all, let me just relabel. So this is your knowledge, and here we have knowledge. Let's call it need of the market. So when you have the overlap or the intersection of your knowledge and the need of the market, that's where you make money. Okay, this is a very simple diagram, and I made it simple because I'm a great teacher, but I made it simple because I want you to put this diagram somewhere on your fridge or something. I want you to remember that this is how you make money. A lot of people today talk about, AI can do this, AI can do that. That's true, but before you use AI or AI agents, you have to understand the strategy, the easiest way for you to make money. And the easiest way is for you to look at your knowledge and identify the parts of your knowledge that intersects with the needs of the market. Like, let's say tomorrow, let's play out a thought scenario. Let's say tomorrow the internet is destroyed. Nobody has access to the internet. And let's go even further. All the libraries in the world are destroyed, and you're left only with the knowledge in your head, not even in your books. You lose everything. So how do you make money? Well, you have to sit down and figure out, like, from the knowledge that you have. It can be all kinds of knowledge, by the way. Don't be too restrictive. It's not necessarily just knowledge about how to do a job or finance. It can be knowledge about parenting, knowledge about coaching your son's or daughter's soccer team. You're a great coach. You won a Coach of the Year award or something. It could be knowledge about cooking. But whatever it is, you look at your knowledge, which is represented by this circle, and you ask yourself, what are the parts of my knowledge that is useful? In other words, that is overlapping with the need of the market. And we can define the market in different ways so that I can identify that knowledge and package that knowledge into ebooks, video courses, and I can make money from it. That's it. That's your easiest and simplest and probably most enjoyable way to make money. Because nowadays, you're going to have tons of hustlers and people who want to leverage the AI hype, which is a bubble, by the way. And they tell you, oh, you got to learn how to sell AI, how to sell prompts, how to create an AI agency. But all of that has nothing to do with your knowledge, with your life, the life that you've led so far, the life, the career, the business, but especially the career that you've developed so far. It has nothing to do with your career as an accountant, a manager, a graphic designer, a martial artist, a yoga instructor. It has nothing to do with that. AI and AI agents have nothing to do with you. And so if you're falling into the trap of pursuing a shiny object or a shiny opportunity, you're going to lose, because it's not you. Why would you learn all these AI prompts and image generators and video generators when your entire career, the very trajectory of your personal and professional development, has nothing to do with the need of the market? And so to drive home even more this idea of finding the intersection, and this is where you make money, I'm going to look at different scenarios, and hopefully, you can understand the master strategy, and this is where you're going to be able to make so much money. So let's really get down into the nitty-gritty detail. So let's say this is your knowledge, and this is the need of the market. So again, we're going to take our friend, the investor, and this investor is super smart. He knows a lot. So he is learning about options trading, and he has another parts of his memory, my experience in 2008, and we're going to talk about also his performance, because he has to be transparent and share the details of his performance. Now, if he's concerned, he can just publish anonymously, so he doesn't have to publish his name, but the data, the details, even the company names have to be legit, right? So his experience in 2008, he can have, let's say the 30 best finance books he read. So that's another part of his knowledge. He can have here, let me see. Let's say he has a finance degree from McGill University. And so he has different knowledge in his brain regarding finance. But I would argue that where he should really concentrate his efforts is here. This is where, because in my experience, or in my judgment, this is where he's going to make money. So this is the knowledge that falls inside of this overlapping zone where it matches the needs of the market. And the need of the market, we should define it further. We can say, let's say we're focused on parents who want to teach their teenage children about sound financial judgment. So a lot of teenagers, like, they might be seduced by Robinhood, you get free trading. They might be seduced by day trading, Forex or foreign exchange trading, or Bitcoin, or all kind of meme coins, and they're so distracted by all the so-called gurus out there, and parents are exhausted, they're frustrated, they want to teach their kids how to think correctly about finance. We're talking about value investing, we're talking about what Warren Buffett is teaching, we're talking about intrinsic value investing, fundamental analysis, not technical analysis. So these are parents who are desperate to find a good teacher. And so that's the market. And so when this investor is writing a book, sharing his experience in 2008 and his incredible performance, obviously the parents all over the world, and this book, by the way, can be translated in so many languages, right? Parents will buy this book for $20, which is nothing. Like, I'm not a parent myself, but I don't think that there's a parent in the world who would not spend $20 to instruct their children about sound financial judgment. Because most parents are not financially smart. Like, sorry to be so offensive, but most parents don't know shit about most parents don't know a lot about finance, and the proof is that they're not financially free. They're stuck in a job. But even such parents, they understand that the key to success and financial freedom is you've got to have sound financial judgment, but not financial judgment from somebody like Warren Buffett, because it's not credible. Their children will not believe that they can become another Warren Buffett, but their children can definitely believe that there's a guy who used to work in the corporate world and somehow was able to liberate himself at age 42. So parents can easily buy that, and for $20 they get the experience of this person. $20. And so after they pay $20, this person can develop a Zoom session, so let's put it down here. So first of all, there's a $20 ebook, and after that, a number of parents are so impressed they're willing to pay $50 for a Zoom session. Let's say Ask Me Anything. So this author is just showing up in Zoom and he's just taking questions. AMA, Ask Me Anything. And in Zoom session for only $50, but he has, let's say, 50 participants. So in a single hour or in 2 hours, he's going to be making $2,500. But it all starts with the ebook. And after that, after the Zoom session, which is recorded, he's going to sell the video of the Zoom session. He's going to sell it for only $10 for people who could not attend the Zoom session in person. And he's going to sell it to, let's say, 500 people. And there you go. You have another $5,000. So can you see how this person who has been successful in investing, he's able to create like new products? And that's not the end. He can create a web application. He can create so many new products. But so far, so let's say for the ebook, let's say he's been able to sell it to 200 people, which is very conservative. So that's a nice, nice $4,000. So can you see that how this person, if he listens to me and he focuses on his experience in 2008 and not from his finance degree, not from options trading, not from the books that he's read, but on his actual experience, he's able to make $4,000 and then 2,500 and then 5,000. So that's about like what? It's like $11,000 total. And that's just to begin with, and all of this is passive income. Well, except for the Zoom sessions. But the Zoom session, he's not teaching anything. He's just answering questions, right? So can you see how, once he is able to identify his most useful knowledge, he can literally print money. This is like printing money for me. And so in your case, you might not be an investor, So here I'm going to put your knowledge as an investor. Like if this person is a certified investor, what is it? Yeah, certified investor, meaning that he has to have an income of 200,000 per year or net worth of over $1 million. If he's a certified investor, his books and videos and Zoom sessions will sell even more. Because to be certified as an investor, it means that he has a net worth. He can prove it. There's a lot of people today on YouTube, they say, I've been able to make 5 figures, 6 figures, but you don't have the proof. This person can actually show proof that he's been certified as an investor. And basically what this certification means is that he has access to investment opportunities that normal people who are uncertified do not have access to. So anyways, there are like once he starts to share his experience, I guarantee you, and this happens to everyone, that it's going to give him ideas. He's going to create a second book, a third book, and he keeps on writing books, publishing, and he makes money. More money, I would argue, than he can ever make with options trading. And this is a problem with a lot of people who are curious. It's good to be curious. It's good to focus on your personal growth. But the bias that they have is that they're not focused on the money. And ironically, this investor is not focused on the right asset. Options trading might allow him to buy covered options of a stock like Nvidia or Tesla, but he's not in control of those companies. Anything could happen, right? But here, his experience, his actual experience, is his intellectual capital, his intellectual property, which is the copyright to the ebook. It's his, but it's not unique to him. Like most investors, I would say 95% of investors and successful entrepreneurs, they don't think about their knowledge as an asset. And so this is so crucial that I need to put it down here, because this is something that, by the way, Eben Pagan, who is a famous internet marketer, in an interview with Brendan Burchard, who's also a famous marketer, very articulate guy, Brendan Burchard. Brendan asked Eben, like, what is your single biggest mistake? And I want to share with you Eben's mistake, because Eben is a very well-read person. He's super smart. And you know what Eben said? He said, my biggest mistake was not to teach what I was doing successfully as I was building, multi-million-dollar companies. And get this, Eben Pagan is a specialist in terms of information product creation. And he said that his biggest mistake was not to teach, like through Zoom sessions or training programs, not to teach what he was doing successfully while he was doing it. So even a smart guy like him. But there are other guys similar to him who caught on pretty fast. For example, Robert G. Allen, he wrote a few books about creating multiple sources of income. I really recommend Robert Allen's books. I forgot the title, but he said, I made millions selling real estate, but I made hundreds of millions teaching people how to sell real estate. So here's a question for you. Do you want to make millions of dollars, or do you want to make hundreds of millions of dollars? An investor who has a net worth of, let's say, 3 million or 5 million, that's peanuts compared to the hundreds of millions that such an investor could make. So for me, $5 million is nothing. Like, you have to put yourself in a mindset where once you have a valuable asset, like an ebook or a Zoom recording or a video course. Yeah, I forgot here. He can create a video course later on. Once you have those assets, ebooks, video course, web applications, you're going to be able to print money. So it's not about options trading anymore. It's not about making money in the public capital markets. You have the most valuable asset, which is your experience. But it becomes an asset only if you articulate and you put it in the form of an ebook or a video or a course. And it can be like an email-based course. It can be a web application. So these are the real killer app, the real killer assets that nobody is talking about, including successful investors. And in my opinion, they're making a huge mistake. And I hope that the successful investors, the successful entrepreneurs like Eben Pagan, the successful people out there, I hope they will understand my diagram and hire me as a consultant. But they can understand my diagram and focus on developing knowledge that people want to learn. So our investor here, he can spend hours and hours and hours of learning options trading, but how much money can he make? And even if he could make money with options trading, there's always a risk, right? And it's a lot of work. He did the hard work already in 2008, so why not capitalize on that hard work? Like theoretically, the experience he had in 2008 is so unique, because he was an employee, right? If you're a professional investor, yeah, maybe your experience in 2008 was very successful because you're a successful investor. But if you sell a book, how many people on LinkedIn would buy a book? They would view your experience as being so unique because you're a hedge fund manager, for example. But here, this guy was a manager. He was an ordinary guy, middle class, working for a corporation. He was an ordinary guy, but he made a killing. And therefore, his book would resonate with millions of people on LinkedIn because they resonate with him. They can see that if he can do it, I can do it, you know. And so my point here is that most people who, even smart people who focus on developing their knowledge, they're going about it the wrong way because they're focusing on all the knowledge that has nothing to do with what the market really wants. Like, this is the need of the market. When people need to know something, in this case, it's parents, they're willing to pay. And you don't have to do a lot of marketing and a lot of sales. They are willing to pay because their children are everything, right? For $20, they're going to buy a book for their children to learn about a real guy who made a real killing. And that's why, like, you know, I would recommend to him or to people like him to do this. But because he's never seen this diagram where you see the intersection between his knowledge and the need of the market, he's not aware of the need of the market. He's never been an entrepreneur or an information product marketer. He's never been in that space. So for him, it's just knowledge. I need to develop my knowledge. But the costly bias that is costing him tens of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars, the bias that is costing him so much money is right here. You know, he is neglecting. I wouldn't call it financial negligence because that's a little bit going too far. But this negligence is costing him a lot of money. But it's worse than his losing money because he's not capturing his knowledge. Because all the people here, all the parents, all the young kids, they're losing out on his experience and wisdom. So I'm going on and on about this because, you know, his situation is not unique. There are millions of people who are successful, including myself. I was a valedictorian of my high school. I was on the dean's list at Dawson College. I was a serial entrepreneur. I was a successful teacher of digital marketing, successful calligraphy artist and designer. I was successful manager of a graphic design firm. I've done so many things successfully in my life, but like even in my case, I never sat down and drew this diagram where, you know, I'm identifying, you know, what is it that I know and where is the need of the market. So let me just do that right now to make sure that we understand how this exercise works. So first of all, on the left hand side, you have to draw a circle and you actually have to write down what is it that you know. So it has to be a topic. It cannot be something like everything I know about life, right? It should be something like my knowledge as a so let's say in my case I'm gonna say as a college digital marketing teacher. Okay, and then on the right hand side, all you have to do is you draw a diagram not a diagram but a circle that represents something like this, and here you label this circle as a particular type of people need for, here you put type of people, and you can define this type of people later on to know. So here I can say, okay, need for experts. So these are experts who want to need for experts, let's say in digital marketing, the more specific you are when you label these two circles, the better. So the need for digital marketing experts to know how to create a course. So my knowledge as a college digital marketing teacher, so I can say I know about email marketing, project management. Okay, let me just put it here so that, okay, so I can say I know about project management, I developed that course. I know about email marketing, I developed that course. I know about online marketing research. But you know, all of this course knowledge is not very useful to these people. You know, like they might know about search engine optimization, sales funnels, Facebook ads. They don't know. They don't want to know about this. But what they do want to know, okay, and that's part of my knowledge circle here, is how to create a 15-week college course, and then which comes with it, how to get paid $80 per hour as a teacher. So this is the knowledge that they want to know. How did I do it? But you know what? When I was teaching at the college, I was teaching these topics. I never taught how to create a 15-week college course, and yet that is the knowledge that these folks are willing to pay for. And so this is where the money is. This is where the money is. And therefore, I'm going to put it in bold. And so instead of continuing to develop this knowledge, I should instead develop my knowledge about how to create a 15-week college course. Like, for example, what were the first step? You know, first step is research, and then, you know, I have to use the ABI. I have to consult the college guidelines. It's not difficult, but there are certain guidelines you have to follow. For example, you know, in terms of exercises, in terms of classroom lesson plans, you know, stuff that I've done. So that's the knowledge that is related to how to create a college course. And so as I develop this knowledge, then, you know, I'll be able to create ebooks, video courses, etc., that will satisfy the need for these experts, and they will pay me for that. So can you see how this exercise works? You know, just two circles, and in the left hand circle you identify what really corresponds to the need, because wherever there is a need, there's probably going to be money. And so these digital marketing professionals who want to know how to create a course, meaning that they want to make additional income, they're probably willing to pay, you know, $100 for this course. So let's say I create a $100 video course on how I was able to create a 15-week college course being paid $80 an hour. They're probably willing to pay $100. And so there are so many digital marketing professionals on LinkedIn that I'm connected to, so it's not going to be hard for me to sell to them. And as with our investor before, I can create tons of different information product. You know, I start with an ebook, and after that it's a Zoom session, ask me anything. After that it's a Zoom webinar. After that I can create a boot camp on Zoom also. I can create a blueprint. I can create a web application that guides people every step of the way in a way that is customized for each user. So there are so many different product formats, but the product topic has to be focused on how to create a college course. Can you see how easy it is? You know, it's super easy, but most people, like I would say most college professors, like I used to be, don't understand this. And so you have so many teachers who complain, oh, you know, as a teacher, I'm not being paid a lot of money. You're not being paid a lot of money because you're teaching a subject that nobody is really interested in, right? You might be a biology teacher. You might be a teacher in history, geography, you know, geography. You might be a teacher in literature, a teacher in psychology. But how many people want to read a book, yet another book on psychology or literature or geography? This kind of information is all over Wikipedia and the internet. It's not useful. You have to find a topic within what you know that people really want to know, and that's where the money is. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it here, but I hope that this very simple exercise, which I'm going to come back to in the future, has been useful to you. your knowledge is the most valuable thing that you have, but you have to identify. It's like mining for gold. You have to identify within your memory, within your knowledge, what is it that is really useful and that you should develop into different products so that you can make money online. It's really that easy to make money. So don't get seduced by all the hype about AI, AI over here, AI over there. It doesn't matter. What people are willing to pay for, and that doesn't change. Even if GPT comes out with GPT 12 or 2000, it doesn't change the fact that people will pay only for what they need to know. What they need to know, and that's where you should focus your efforts. Discover within your knowledge the information that people really need to know and are willing to pay for, and you're going to become super rich. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you more in the next live stream.